Hi, Mike DePung here, welcoming you to Spirit Hill, Spirit Healing and Love and Light. It's wonderful to have you here. I enjoy talking to you, and I'm going to share some things today that I hope you will find healing and useful. What you just witnessed was me channeling Spirit yesterday morning. I asked my heart to help me access what the spirits had to say to me, what my team of unseens, these unseen energies, well, the energies are unseen, what they would want to communicate to me. And this is what I heard, and what I wrote down there, that I should share what I have to share without any thought of defending or justifying anything. And that tools like being able to channel spirit, to journal, like the feathers that you saw in the background, and the book that I didn't even know was there is the book that gives me information about the energies that each of the birds represent and the feathers carries, and energies that have spoken to me that I saw it in some ways. And so these tools that the Spirit gives us help facilitate communication with Spirit, help facilitate communication amongst all of us distinct, unique Spirit expressions. The spirits themselves delight in being able to communicate with us. And the last thing was this, and this is very powerful, and this is the main point that I would like to work through today with you, because I want you to understand. I would like it. I think it would be for your good. I can't force it on you. You need to, if you wish to enter into these things, access your own heart, your heart operating system, and know that that is the proof, that is the essence, that is the reality that we are spirit incarnate. And as such, that part of us can recognize that there are magic and miracles all around us, that they're in abundance around us, that every time I do something like ask a bird for confirmation that indeed it's speaking with me, or that I'm thinking about very specific questions and I get the answer. I have the answer because heart has the answer as it accesses spirit. And so there are these expressions of spirit all about us in abundance. To some people, they appear as magic, and I guess they are. I don't have a problem with calling it magic. But the reality is, it's there. It's not so supernatural. It's meant for us to always be operating in these things. And so all of these and many more show me that there is magic all about us. One time, I asked a crow who was in a pine tree far overhead, about 40 feet overhead, and it seemed like it was just calling at me, and it was relentless. And I looked up. I was walking my two puppies, and they just patiently stood there and waited. And he was calling at me, and I had a sense that there was energy to be shared. But I'm thinking, maybe he's calling at the dogs. Maybe that's the problem. So I said, if you have a message for me, leave me a feather. The next morning I walked past, and here was a feather, and it was this feather. And the next morning I walked past, and there were two more feathers that I have upstairs. This is one of my primary ones that I use more daily basis. And I knew then, and I seek out, what is the message? What's there? Well, the message of Crow has to do with, and what resonated with me, this part of Crow's energy was that I needed to realize the magic that was all around me to be able to engage in passionate creativity. And I accepted that, and things have went. Now, this was 5 or 6 years ago, so things have progressed since then. Another time, there was bluebirds, it seemed like, kept appearing to me right in my backyard. And I mean, the crow was right in the neighborhood, and the bluebird was right in the backyard. But again, I wanted to know for sure. And I said, could you leave a feather? The next morning I went out, and here is a teeny tiny little bluebird feather. It doesn't seem like much, but it was confirmation that the universe heard me, that spirit was with me, and that I'm part of it. And this is the proof, this is the evidence. And there are hundreds of things like that that have happened to me over the years, or maybe more, I don't know. Uh, in fact, one night I was asking him some very serious questions, and I said, boy, I just thought, I didn't even say it out loud. I thought, well, it would be really great if I could have some kind of sign. A meteor would be nice. And I mean, it was a split second, it wasn't even a full second. A bright green streak across the sky from the southwest to the northeast over me. And I knew I had my answer about the magic that I was seeking. And the owls, sometimes owls have spoken to me, times when I didn't even know they were there, and I would take a picture and an owl would be in the picture, and I was unaware of it while I was taking the picture. So these are the kinds of things that happen. And they are abundant, the way that Spirit uses, the way that Spirit speaks to us. Because we are Spirit, and it's Spirit speaking to Spirit, except in our own unique way, our own unique identities. And it's a really great thing. But we need to engage in healing. The healing of reconciling ego that is necessary for this physical body, and heart, which is our spirit part, and which we meant to engage when we came here, that we meant at a certain point to say, I recognize my divinity and I enter into it and I want to work it. And so the healing isn't always so much about, ouch, I got hurt, I got an owie, I need to fix it up. Sometimes that's part of it. And many times it's a big part of it because we've allowed ego to do so much when we could have been calling on heart, and it could have been a lot more interesting and engaging life. But it doesn't matter, because all that matters is now. And that now we recognize heart is our spirit, part of us that wants to process and filter and respond to life. And so we choose that, and that's healing. That's healing. It's the process of reconciling ego and heart and the energies, and then engaging in the wonder, the blessedness of seeing the miracles and magic all around us. And in fact, 2 nights ago, I had a dream. I asked for, now here's another example of Spirit answering, of the fellowship, the communication of spirit to spirit. I asked in my ceremony that I do every night, I asked for the spirits to give me a dream if there were some things that I needed to hear, that I needed to hear and know. And this is an example of why I asked that. The fact that I'm stumbling in my speech is because the last week and a half, I have not slept more than maybe 3.5, 4 hours a night. And I think it's because the time astrologically, what is going on, and I am not going to even pretend to know that, but I listen to people who do know. And there's just this huge download of energy, and it's just so much. It's just like my soul and my mind and my insides. I'm just so innervated that it's hard to sleep. So I asked for dreams. And that night, I got a 3-parter. It was a 3-part dream that seemed bizarre and long, and I want to share the message of that, because this was another example of the abundance of spirit all around us. The one part of the dream, and I'm not going to try to even describe, it would take 20 minutes just to describe the actual circumstances, situations, the events of the dream. So I'm just going to give you the message that I got, because I always analyze for message, and I always ask heart, and I channel it in my journal, just like I told you, right here, this journal that I use, that you saw me writing in. I channel these dreams, the messages that I get from. And one of the first part of the dream, of this 3-part dream that was weirdly connected, was don't allow anyone to force or put me in a situation, a place, or relationship that tears me down, that I'm not comfortable with, that I should only accept or enter into on my own those relationships that feel good and right and open and not secretive. And I know because in that dream, I'll just tell you that's a little tantalizing thing, that representation of spirit got into a freight elevator with me. There you go. The second thing is that I learned from the second part of my dream was that I should encourage others to know their innate divinity, that spirit, that they are spirit incarnate, that your and my value and worth and essence in the face of forced conformity needs to be maintained. We need to enter into it for ourselves and realize that ego would conform us. Heart, spirit, innate divinity within us says we've got a whole lot of living to do that has nothing to do with meeting others' expectations and entering into their realities. We have our own. And so, in the face of an ego energized collective, I am to share what I have to share. That we are innate divinity, that we are spirit incarnate. And the third part of this was that there was this another spirit representation in my dream. One of the nature beings, a little man, one of the little people that many cultures know of, that are called candomblé in some context. He kind of appealed to me and led me as I was as a child, and it was like my inner child to listen for and seek the magic of life, because in this part of the dream, there were all these people watching this parade, and they were saying, you need to stay here, you need to watch, you're gonna miss out. And this little person just pulled on me, and I was little too then. I knew it was my youthful self. And he was just smiling. He's appeared to me in a couple of other dreams. And he was just smiling and pulling and wouldn't let me listen to them. And they just kind of ignored me. And I wended my way out. And this little spirit said, over there, pointed and was laughing. And there was a part of the parade that nobody else was going to see. And it has to do with magic of kids. And not that I'm saying anything about it one way or another, but there was Santa Claus looking out a coach window being pulled in this by these amazing horses. No, not reindeer. They were horses. And he just laughed. And the message was, this is magic. This is what you're to see from life. And that's especially relevant to today. So I think that my inner child is delicate, but quite able to more fully assimilate truth and to run with that wild abandon and enthusiasm, taking in all of the wonders and magic of life. And so my suggestion, if you want to hear that heart and run with that wild inner child. And so all of these things, the channeling that I do, the messages that I receive, whether it be through feathers or books or cards or my ceremonies or crystals or readings from other people in spiritual realms, listening to these things, the things that resonate with me, those are for my healing in love and light. And not only that, they're for all of us. All of these things are there for us to see, these wonderful depths of knowledge, but not just knowledge, not knowledge the way we think of it, stuff to learn and remember, but the knowledge that is right here, right now, that I can access, that I can feel, that I can see even as I speak these words. I know that spirit is with me. I know that I am spirit, and I know that even though some of my stuff has been a little bumbled and stumbling here, that the message is clear, and it's always that the realization is here right now, that I am in unity with all of this, that I am spirit, that spirits are here, they are spirit, you are spirit, and we are one. This is the essence of healing in love and light, and it does produce amazing amazing fullness and love. And here's the big point I want to get to today. Something like a little bluebird feather, or a crow feather, or any of the other feathers that you might have seen in the background of that time-lapse video that I shared. That there are energies, and those energies carry messages to help us very specifically. And I would love that you would enter into that for yourselves. I can't tell you what to think or believe. I can share these kinds of experiences that I've had, but you need to get true with yourself, to look into the, as I've said before, look into the eyes behind the eyes and see that you are spirit, that you have heart, and that you have heart as an operating system, and that you consciously, verbally, mentally choose heart as your operating system, and that you go from there. You go with that. So when we, again, turn on, like I said in a couple of videos ago, turn on to heart and tune in then, because we have heart as our tuner, as our antenna, tune in to spirits all around us. Wonderful, miraculous, magical things happen. And it doesn't involve getting things. It involves knowing. It involves, not even knowing the way, I don't even want to use that term. It involves awakening to all that is already here. I often think of how very different this world would be and will be when the collective energies are shifted, because individuals like you and me awaken to heart, and that becomes the predominant expression in the collective. In the meantime, I want you to know something. Right in my backyard, whether it be in feathers, or in the trees, or the rock that I told you about a few videos ago, the oak tree that I am with every night, the stars, the constellations, the energies, spirit communicates with us. The whole universe is right in my backyard. It's right here, right now. I am part of that whole universe. Yes, I understand what some will say, but Spirit told me don't justify it. We are Spirit. We can have access, and we do have access. I have access right now to the whole universe, here and now. So I can't think of any better way to end this video, and I will share again with you another time. So for now, love and peace and healing in love and light.